Mary, Coco. Hey, that's Hannah.
It
Nice.
works. That's good.
I tell you, you're one of the quickest to get on the live, so you obviously know your technology. Hannah, where are you sitting now?
At the moment, I'm in my design studio, which is in Clerkenwell. Very luckily, I live about a 7-minute walk away, so I've been able to keep coming in, even though all my team aren't here and they're all at home, so it's a bit lonely. But yeah, I'm here, so I'm upstairs at the minute, which is the design studio part, and then the showroom's downstairs, so I can take you down there. Sure.
Great. Now, Hannah, for those who don't live in London, where is Clerkenwell and why are you in London?
Clerkenwell is sort of, well, I call it central, but it's really sort of east central, and it's just outside of Shoreditch, which is the kind of, you know, well-known, cool hipster part of the east. And then it's an amazing area. I've been here forever since I've been in London and working in jewellery, because there's Hatton Garden, which is the kind of jewellery centre, particularly for like making and craftsmanship, and all our like stone dealers are there and everything. And it's an interesting area. I love it.
So you've got the fact that you're, you know, it's a cool part anyway. A lot of design goes on there, but it's also, of course, crucially near to Hatton Garden. So
yeah, makes life very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So it's now 3:30, so I think we can officially start. So Hannah Martezodi, look, there's Emmanuel Tarpin. We'll say hello to him.
Hi.
So Hannah, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you are right now in your studio? Maybe you can walk us around.
Absolutely. Well, we're in the sort of like back end, shall I say, at the moment. Where
Didn't come across well.
Oh God, I started badly. Yeah, so this little area is my kind of I don't know whether I call it an office, but it's where I work and where all my books. I'm like a hoarder of books, as you can probably see, and I like seem to excuse myself that it's all right to buy books, and even when you can't afford to eat. So I've been buying books since I was at St Martin's. Doesn't really count. Yeah, so I can, and then I'm going to take you downstairs, because that's the sort of bit that everybody sees, and it's actually a pretty new showroom. So how do I flip this around?
There's a little that's
there
it.
we go. All right, so this is my kind of little desk area, and the window, the bookshelves, and then excuse me, don't get seasick while I take you downstairs.
Are you going to show us what's behind you, Hannah? I know you're going down.
Going down. This is a sort of entrance hall. That's where you'd normally come in if we were allowed to have clients in here. And then here's our showroom.
Wow.
There is I have been occasionally putting the jewellery in the cabinets just to make myself feel less lonely.
It must be a strange feeling all on your own there.
It's very strange. I hope I don't get too used to it. The team will be like, can we come back? I miss them all very much if they're listening. It's very
I hope they're watching. Hi, Team Hannah. So Hannah, tell me about how you came to be a jewellery designer, because you don't look like most jewellery designers.
Well, to be honest, it wasn't like a lifelong ambition. I didn't kind of grow up as a young girl dreaming of being a jewellery designer, and it's actually a question that I get asked loads in interviews, like, when did you first want to be a jewellery designer? I was like, I had no idea it even existed. Jewellery wasn't really part of my life growing up at all. But what I did know from a very early age is I wanted to go to art school, and I actually wanted to be a sculptor, and that was always my kind of dream. And I went to St Martin's, so I got on the onto a foundation course at St Martin's, which is what you've got to do prior. You've got to do, when you do an art degree, you've got to do a foundation course first. Mm-hmm. So I came up to London like an eager 17-year-old, and it was the most exciting thing in the world. Like, blew my mind. Thought it was the best thing ever. And on the foundation course, you do a little section of everything. So it's like I had like 5 days doing fine art, 5 days doing sculpture, 5 days doing fashion. And anyway, I did 5 days doing jewellery, and it was honestly like love at first sight. I think within the first few hours, I was like, this is amazing. I got to play with loads of tools in a workshop, and it kind of, when I look back on it with hindsight, it makes sense to me, because you know, it is sculpture, and my work's really sculptural anyway, and it's really three-dimensional, but I think it also satisfies the bit of my brain that likes a problem to solve. So it's kind of that really nice mix, like design and art kind of mixing together. You know, it's
on a smaller scale.
On a smaller scale, exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, it kind of, yeah. And then I did my degree at St. Martin's, and then kind of went from there, basically.
Fantastic. And you also spent time learning the craft of jewellery making from some of the best masters in the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the degree, I was trained, you know, the degree was also like very hands-on. So that was a lot of goldsmithing. And then I got a scholarship when I was at St. Martin's to Cartier. And that then was where I kind of learned I learned about luxury basically, and I learned about, you know, the materials that I would now work in. I absolutely fell in love at that moment. I learned how to do like all of the amazing technical drawing, like gouache paintings. That all really came from that sort of training and my first.
It's interesting that you say that at Cartier you learned about luxury, because that's something that I really like about your work, is that you're highly original. You've got a really, you know, cool point of view, but it's super luxurious.
Yeah, and it was it was kind of like a love affair. I always think, you know, I'm a bit of a dichotomy because, you know, I love to spend my time in like a sweaty mosh pit, but I also really like luxury, and that sort of sums up my brand as well. But I'd never really, you know, I didn't grow up with that in those surroundings. It was all really new to me, and, you know, especially at college as well, we were learning, but I was making things out of brass, and I didn't know. It just was a world that I didn't know. So going to Cartier was a bit like coming to London the first time, and it sort of blew my mind in just understanding that world. And I completely, I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the like preciousness of materials. I love like gold itself as a material. I mean, that's my kind of true love, I suppose. You know, even to work with, it feels like butter. You know, it's a beautiful thing to like touch and feel and mold. And so I think it was just a perfect match.
yeah, and that's something that stands out about your work. It's that it's got this opulence about it, but it's got this balance as well. It never sort of it walks a really fine line between being very much about the design, very much about your attitude, but also beautiful objects made with a lot of care. So
thanks, Maria.
No, that's lovely, because you can be really way out there in design, but it doesn't necessarily meet the making part. So where is your jewellery made, Hannah? Tell me about that.
So we're all, in fact, until very recently, so the showroom here is new. We moved in sort of just before Christmas, and so before that we had the workshop in our old space, like physically in it, which was amazing for like 10 years. But now it's off-site, but we work about 3 minutes away from here, so it's all kind of based in this area. So literally everything we make is either, we have one small bench upstairs, but it's either made here or made within a sort of 5-minute walk of here.
Well, that's a great privilege as well, isn't it? Because
it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I'm a real control freak.
Surely not, Hannah.
Happy to admit.
Hannah, that hair has not been control freaked.
So yeah, being able to have your eye on things as they're being made. I mean, I have an amazing right-hand man, Michael, who I hope is watching now, and we've worked together for a lot of years, and he's a kind of production manager and manages all of that side of it, and we work really closely and with the craftsmen that make the pieces. So I think as a team, you know, I also have to, I mean, it is a team effort. It's not me doing all of this, sitting here making everything. It's like everything comes together because I've got an amazing team that work for me, which you know, I think some people imagine it's just me sitting here whittling away. It's definitely a group effort.
Melting your gold, casting, filing. That's all you, Hannah, right?
I mean, I did start like that. I did start as a one-man band, and I sat in a workshop and made everything. I kind of know. I always think, actually, I was speaking to Thomas after your interview last week, and we were talking.
Yeah, that's Thomas Donachik, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. And we were talking about the making thing, and I think it's such an essential to have had that training. Like whether you now, I mean, I do much less making now. I still do a bit, but mainly wax carving. But you know, I'd say it's pretty much impossible to design without having a really good knowledge of how something's made, because it means that I can sit with a stone setter and they can go, oh, I don't think you can do that. And I can go, yeah, you can. Come on, try it like this. And you can have that kind of conversation. And the same with Michael, who I work with, we bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, it makes it a harder taskmaster, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And just means you can design things that are possible rather than things that are impossible.
Yeah. So somebody's just asked, Hannah, how many people are on your team?
There is, I think, 1, 2, 3. There's sort of 5, including me. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of small, but it's a nice family.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure, Hannah, what everyone wants to know is, what are you going to show us?
Got a whole tray of goodies.
Yeah. Oh, actually, before we're going to do that, you're going to show us about some sketches as well, but maybe you can just weave them in.
I could kind of weave things in so that you can see the final product and then sort of how I get there. What am I going to show you first?
In the meantime, I'm going to try and tilt up my camera because apparently I'm very low down on the screen, but I'm not sure how to do that. So you carry on, Hannah. While I warm up.
We'll start with a whopper. This is where I have to.
Okay.
Oh, is the lighting not good? Right. What did we learn the other day? Okay, so this is a bangle.
Wow.
From actually the last collection that I released, which was a couple of years ago now. Can you see that?
I can. Can you turn it maybe on its side because it's catching some light? Oh wow, yeah, that looks great.
So it's yellow gold, and then these are sort of brown. They're cognac diamonds. If you can see the lights not
on the tip.
Okay. And the collection was called Somebody's Sins, and
can you put it on your wrist, Hannah, or is that too complicated right now?
I think I can.
I'm lucky that you can model your own jewellery. Yeah, there's quite a bright light flaring on your right.
Yeah.
But let's
Do you know what? If you give me 2 minutes, I can turn that off. Well, 2 seconds. Bear with me.
I will keep talking while Hannah makes an adjustment. I've adjusted the tilt, so I think things are better now. But yeah, it's all learning on the job and seeing where the light was. When we tested it on natural light,
that might be better.
It's perfect. Let's see. Oh, so much better.
There we are. Yeah, so this collection was, it was really, I really wanted to make a collection of very sexy jewellery. And
your jewellery is very sexy, Hannah, always.
That's always my one answer to my one question to myself is like, is it sexy? It needs to be sexy. That's obviously very, everybody has their own opinion of what that is, but you know, it's my brand, so I decided.
It's sexy, so we got like a sort of shackle, manacle. How would you describe that shape?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've done kind of a variation on this sort of, shackle cuff kind of shape. I love it. And there's a ring to go with this as well. In a second.
Oh, wow. Okay. Can you put that on, Hannah?
Yeah, I can get this one off.
Yeah, I know the names of your collections. I'll just read some of them out. It's only rock and roll. And which one is that one from, Hannah?
This one's the same collection. So this is the last one, Somebody's Sins.
Sins, yeah. Okay. If we just see that a bit more, Hannah, hold it up a bit more.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and from the side. So it's set, so those different colour sapphires you've set it with?
They are, actually, they're brown diamonds. So they're cognac diamonds.
But somebody says, tie me up any day with those pieces.
Come round.
Okay, and somebody now wants to see a close-up of your mega ear piercings, Hannah.
Oh, well, that's a good segue because I've got a little preview in my ear. There we go, can you see it?
Oh, preview, guys, exclusive. Tell us about them. Can you talk us through them, Hannah?
This one and the big bolt earring are actually from the new collection, which is called A New Act of Rebellion, which was supposed to be launched on the 8th of April. In fact, it was the day I was supposed to be launching in LA with a very big party in Maxfield, and I'm not. So it's very sad.
Oh, dear.
But it will happen. Yeah, so the ears are a preview, and that's going to be launching at some point in probably about a month. We've had to sort of change all our plans, but we are going to be talking about this more on our social media channels and all of that coming up in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out. There'll be some sneaky peeks.
That's amazing. So you saw that here first.
Yes, absolutely. Exclusive announcement.
Exclusive. Actually, just looking at those reminded me that your shapes are often very functional items, aren't they? Rope,
Yeah.
bolts, screws. Tell me about that.
I'll show you another rope one. I think there's a rope one here. Let me show you. This is from the...
Yeah. And can you show us what it looks like on the... It's a piece of rope sort of tied, isn't it?
Literally, and it's got a little knot on the bottom as well. So that one, with brown diamonds. I've got a bit of a thing for brown diamonds. That was from the collection called Aguila Dorada, which was a piratical themed collection. But yeah, I use like shackles, ropes. In the new collection, there's a lot of kind of safety pins, and do you know what? I don't really know why. I think because I love big industrial things. Like I love brutalist architecture. I love building sites. I love scaffolding. I love it. And it's something.
This is a time to mention where you live, Hannah.
Oh yeah, I live in the Barbican, so I live in my like dream. My
brutalist.
Quarantined in a brutalist's heaven. Yeah, I think it's the. Do you know? I think it's the like strength of those things that I love. It's this kind of like unapologetic. I keep coming back to the word brutal, but I love that. The engineered feeling of things, and that when you put it into 18 karat gold or you use different materials, and it brings a softness to it. I think the thing that I'd say ties my work together through all the collections is this sort of meeting of like hard and soft, or like masculine and feminine, or like strong lines with like curvaceous forms. I'm always really interested in that. And I think that's maybe why I always come back to using things that are sort of normal, everyday things and giving them a new life.
Are you wearing the earring you were wearing earlier, the bolt?
Oh yes, I am.
Yeah,
I see it for all the other ones.
But it's a great example of how something really utilitarian becomes a totally different object when it's in gold. Not really, but never mind. I'm sure that when it launches, we'll be able to see it. Yeah.
Sorry. It's coming up. That's part of the new collection, so you'll see it. You'll all see it soon.
So, Hannah, like you would never do anything floral, would you, or with fairies?
No.
Never in your DNA.
Worst nightmare.
Okay.
Unless I could find it really rock and roll. No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. And your best-selling pieces, Hannah, I think some of them involve pearls, which again you sort of wouldn't expect as somebody who's talking about raw, unapologetic, industrial brutalists. Then we have these.
It's funny. I've got one piece here. So this is from the collection. It's only rock and roll, it was the first collection that I did, and actually it kind of grew. There we go. It's a spur pendant.
Mm-hmm.
And that collection was basically what I grew for my graduate collection. So it's kind of, I developed it at St. Martin's, and it was very much the kind of, God, get my words out. It's what I've always been trying to do. So like my idea was, and pearls particularly, I had this idea that I wanted to make jewelry for men that girlfriends could steal. So I've always wanted to have this kind of, I hate the word unisex, but now I can use gender fluid because that's a thing now, which is cool. So that was always like at the bottom of everything. And that necklace, particularly that pearl necklace, I'll dangle it in front of you again, was kind of my way to do that. Because I totally can, well, I've sold it to plenty of men, but it's like, in my head, this was like a rock star on stage. You know, I could imagine Keith Richards. In my head, Keith Richards was going to be wearing this for like the rest of his life. When I
think that's a pretty good image. Jewellery for rock stars.
Yeah, that's good.
Successful rock stars.
Absolutely. I mean, the reality is that's what I set out to do, and you know, I do have some amazing rock star clients, but I have such an array of unexpected clients. I learned that pretty quickly in this game, that never to judge anyone when they walk in your door, because you think, oh, they'll never want to wear my stuff, and then they look amazing in it. So you know, it's good. But yeah, the pearls was, again, I love the, like, you know, the contrast of pearls are so beautiful, and they do have this very feminine connotation, And I suppose I use black pearls a lot, so that kind of adds something. But you know, again, I like that mix of the hard and soft and the feminine and masculine mixing. There's another pearl piece here that I'll show you, which is from the Pirate collection, which is a bracelet, which I'm not going to put on because it's a tiny bit fiddly and I'm probably going to embarrass myself.
But that's a nice example that the clasp there is fully working but made in gold.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it unscrews and works like a real shackle, and then holds the
bracelet together.
Holds the bracelet together.
Wow. Okay, and now we've got you right there. Can you tell me about that ring on your hand, Hannah?
Oh yes, this one.
Yeah, that one.
Which is what I call my ex-wedding ring. So it was a wedding ring. It's not anymore. It's now just my own bespoke. So I designed it. So it was I started out with the emerald, which is in the middle, and it was super fun because I do loads of bespoke. That's quite a big part of what we do, and I love it because you're working with like an individual. It's kind of a really nice collaboration. You can come up with some amazing stuff, but I've never done anything for myself, so it was really fun. And also mega pressure because I'm like, I get bored quite easily. What if I design? Well, I've got to design something that's going to keep me interested for the rest of my life.
Well, you kept the interest in the ring, but
yeah, exactly. I kept the interest in the ring.
Can you take it off so we can see it, or is it welded onto your hand now?
It might be a tiny bit. There we go.
So it's sapphires on the side, is that right?
It's sapphires and emerald, and then this side, the emerald side is rose gold.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then this side's white gold. So it's kind of a mix, which I do that quite a lot as well. I love mixing gold, so a lot of what I do actually is mix. And actually, rose and white is a really lovely combo. It's kind of maybe the least expected. But I really like it. I love it all actually. Yellow and rose together is really nice because you get that really subtle, like warmth to it, and yeah.
But getting the union of the two golds perfect must be a bit of a headache for your
a nightmare. Yeah.
And so what else have you got to show us, Hannah? I know you've got a lot there because
I have.
We had a little rehearsal earlier on.
Yes, showing my wares off. I'll do a bit of a double showing. I've got lots of rings here because I'm quite a ring fanatic. Here we go. There's a fistful here.
Wow. Can you talk us through those, Hannah? That is a treat.
That one is one of my favourites. It's from a collection called Solaris.
That's the emerald.
Oh, yes, with the stones.
Yeah.
So it's called the Solaris Empty Sovereign Ring, and so it's black diamonds here, then emeralds, then sapphires. And I take it off because you can see it's all like a little bit wonky. So it was supposed to be kind of obviously planetary, sort of night sky, delirious kind of feeling, but it's all a bit wonky. So it would have been much easier and cheaper to make if we'd made all the circles of stones the same size, but that would be boring. And it's much more interesting. So if you can see, like the emeralds go from like small to big, and the sapphires go from small to big. So it's all sort of moving around each other.
Wow. And have you set it into black and gold?
Yes. So then it's in white gold and it's treated with a black rhodium, which just makes it's nice when you've got coloured stones because it just kind of it makes the colour pop a bit more. And I've got this real thing. I started it like really early on with the rings with the hole in, which I call them empty sovereigns because the first one kind of was supposed to be a sovereign ring where you'd lost the sovereign. But again, going back to the sexy thing, like it's something kind of quite sensual. You see your skin through it, and it's sort of playing space and negative space, and it's been something I've used quite a lot.
Yeah. And you showed me earlier another. Oh, okay. What's this one? Wow.
This one's from Somebody's Sins as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better? And again, it's kind of this whole thing was about restraint and whether the pieces were being held together by a pin or about to burst apart. And that one's diamonds and sapphires with that kind of rose gold thing holding it together around your finger.
The tension, I can feel it, Hannah.
Yes, great.
About to pop.
It's about to explode with excitement. yeah, I've got the big sparkly diamond one here that I showed you earlier, which is also, this is literally one of my favorite pieces.
So you see what I mean about luxury and glamour. So
this one's called the Ring of Fire, after a Johnny Cash song. And it was actually from a small collection that I did of, I set a project for myself to make a set of diamond rings, because I get so bored with diamonds. I mean, diamonds are amazing. They're beautiful things, and you look at them and you wonder why they, you know, how the earth has made them. But they're ubiquitous everywhere, and most diamond rings that you see are the same. And it's all about the diamond, and people have this kind of, you know, the values on the diamond, and really the jewelry is just like a case for this stone. And I think that's wrong. I don't like it, because I think the diamond should be part of a design. The diamond should be there for a reason, because it works with the piece as a whole, and there's a purpose for it being there rather than just the value of the stone. So yeah, so I did these 6 diamond rings, and this is one of them.
Let's have a look at that again. And from the side, Hannah? Yeah, so from the side, you don't even see the diamonds.
No.
And they're sort of like growing up from the finger, aren't they?
Yeah. And again, it's kind of got that thing. I love the sort of fact you can see your flesh through it. Right. And it's kind of framing the skin.
And those are quite sizable diamonds, aren't they? They're not just a little powder.
They are. They also, the way I designed it makes them look bigger. So I think the biggest is like a 50 pointer, so like a half carat or 40 pointer. But actually it's kind of a really good, it's great value for money, doing it this way around, because you get a lot of carat weight of diamond, but because they're all kind of under half a carat, they're not as expensive. So I think this ring is around the 17,000 mark, and it's got, off the top of my head, 4.5 or 4.5 carats of stones. If you're buying that as like a 4.5 carat diamond, you'd be looking at
like
you get a lot of bang for your buck, is what I'm saying.
There you are, Hannah Martin bargains.
But yeah, I think that might be. It's very hard to pick a favorite. I've got a number of favorites, but that is one of my all-time favorite pieces.
Yeah, it is pretty stunning, isn't it? And you were showing us one which I think was all gold, which is another.
Oh yes, a big sculpt.
Another style, yeah. And so which collection is this from, Hannah?
This is from a collection called Delirium, which was actually, I did a sort of 3-part series, because I always have a story. Every collection starts with a story and a character. And I kind of build up the whole thing around this character. And this was actually a series of 3 collections that were based around this one story. And it's this chap, it's the first time I've used someone that is real, so to speak, rather than someone that I've made up. And he's called the Count Saint-Germain, and he's been written about in history of hundreds of years. And the story goes that he was an alchemist, and he'd found the elixir of life. Like Voltaire wrote about him. He was like, sort of really in there with like the Russian tsars, and kind of popped up in history over a few hundred years. And the story went that he could never die. And I think it was Voltaire that described him as the man who knows everything and never dies. And I called the collection The Man Who Knows Everything. So this was like the final part, and it was supposed to be this kind of, what would his world look like in the future, you know, if he does still exist somewhere. Apparently there's a cult in America that do still believe that he exists, so, you know, maybe he does.
There's a cult for everything in America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that is that collection, Delirium, and the whole idea was it was this kind of like super hypnotic kind of dystopian universe that he lived in, and it was really all the pieces are sort of super sculptural.
Really sculptural.
And actually that's the kind of sister ring to this one, which is my one, which is bashed up, which was from the story before. So it's almost like together they look awesome. They kind of snuggle, they're like reverse of each other.
Right, and is the early one in silver, Hannah?
This is actually the prototype. So yes, it is. But we do it in gold. So we don't sell silver at all. It's just gold. But it weighs I really like to feel my jewelry. As you can tell, I make
Yeah.
really good rings, and I think if you're going to pay for something, you want to know you're wearing it. So I think this is called the supersized orbit ring, is about 50 grams of gold. So yeah, you can take someone out with that.
And you showed me earlier one of your eagle rings.
Oh yes, that's actually mine. Again, these are rings I wear every day. So there's two of them. I've got a bit of an obsession with eagles. I love them. Visually. So this one is from the collection called Vincent, which is the kind of Russian gangster one. I take it off. This is
really... Can we just go back there? The Russian gangster. So the characters in Hannah's narratives are not, like the nice boys, are they?
No.
Like
they're always male. They all have. There's like this sort of pirate one. There's Vincent is the Russian gangster, and I had this whole story of this guy who was sort of like super suave and sophisticated, like tailored Macs, but deadly dangerous, and he was kind of ruling the streets of London. You just see him kind of dashing off down an alleyway with his like beautiful leather boots on, and that in my head. And he was very handsome, obviously. Looked a bit like Vincent Gallo, that's why I called him Vincent.
Okay.
So that was him. This other eagle one, he's from the Agreda Dorada collection, which was the pirate-based one. So I always wear those two together. They're kind of my lucky charms.
Yeah, I think Johnny Depp should get to know these.
So do I.
Listening, Johnny. and tell me, Hannah, since the beginning, I know it's really trendy now to say, that you design gender fluid jewelry, but you did. What?
I did.
Why? You're way ahead of the curve.
It was actually like, I was always fascinated with gender, and I wrote my thesis at St. Martin's on masculinity, and this kind of it was the grey. I always called it when I was writing that thesis, like the grey areas, like the boundaries, and that's what I'm interested in life in general. I like things on the boundaries. I like stuff that's like one end or the other, or somewhere in the middle. That's where I think all the exciting stuff happens. So it was kind of already something I was really looking into, and I think also because my personal style, I've always worn like men's clothes, and I've got that kind of, that's just sort of part of me. So it was always
incredibly feminine.
Yeah. Am I on the outside?
You don't look like a boy, Hannah.
It's the kind of mix. I think it's the mix of the hard and soft female male thing, and where it mixes in the middle is super interesting for me. And also it really spun from that when I first went for the scholarship in Cartier. It was before I'd finished college, and I was about to go into my third year, and I was it was this double life. I was sort of working on these amazing pieces, but they're pretty very, very fine jewelry. It was the high jewelry department I was working in at the time, and then I was kind of spending my evenings going to like dirty bars and watching like beautiful French boys play rock and roll, and thinking, this is like, why can't this meet? Why can't there be two things? Why can't these things come together? And at the time also, men's jewelry didn't really, it did exist, of course it existed, but it was, usually was like a skull ring or something that looked like part of a car, and that no one was making like really beautiful, elegant, luxury jewelry for men. So I was thinking, well, why not? So then I went back to college, and that's what I did. And I always thought of it like, it's kind of like the idea of like wearing a boyfriend's shirt the next morning is quite sexy. So it's like, if I can make jewelry for men that girls would then look really hot in, that's perfect.
I think you managed that, Hannah.
Thanks.
Yeah, because I can't think of a piece of your jewelry that a man or a woman.
No, I mean, there's a few that are more on. There's definitely a few that sway more to one way or the other. Like I haven't really got any on this trait, but there's really very few, and we genuinely have a mix of clients. Like, and for pretty much every piece, I have like men and women buy it. So it's kind of worked.
Yeah. Did you have the pendant? I can't remember the name of the collection, Hannah. The black bar through it. So I think that's a really good example of unisex in a sort of totally effortless way, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's got diamonds and rose gold, which could be quite feminine, but then that's actually black jade that runs through it there. I don't know whether you can see it. The camera doesn't focus that well, but, and again, it's on a fine chain, but I've seen, you know, men have bought this and they look amazing in it. So it does, yeah, it can be done, I think.
Definitely, definitely. And do you have anything that we haven't seen yet? Because I know you had a lot of jewellery there.
Oh, I should actually, these I should show you, because these are again from the first, I'll show you one at a time. So these are cufflinks, which again kind of became, when I first did them, and it was when I launched the brand, like these got picked up by the press and shot so much, and it was kind of what everyone then sort of knew me for, with this shape. And these ones have got black diamonds in.
But
so
you see them when you twist it, so it's quite discreet.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can kind of wear it, it needs to go in a French cuff, but if you wear them that way around, you can obviously hide the stones, and then you can kind of put it around that way and you'd see the diamonds. But again, like that whole shape, it was just, I love the idea of something, you have a cuff and you just shove a bit of gold through it, and it's like, oh, there, casually go out. That's kind of what I always think. I want it to feel really effortless and cool, and like you've just thrown this super expensive pair of cufflinks on and not even caring about it.
Yeah,
and then this ring as well, which again is kind of the starting point of the brand, really, the spur ring.
Yeah.
And we still sell, like, it's still a really good seller. Like, people really love that one.
Because you designed that, what, how many years ago, Hannah? About 15?
Yeah.
Hannah, it is deceptively young. That's what I meant to say.
All the right things.
Someone wants to know, where and how do you launch a collection?
Well, that's an interesting question, because we were, with this collection, it was launching, you know, at the beginning of this month. And we'd actually sort of started on the process, so that we got as far as, we had a preview dinner here for some of our really special clients and friends. So it was amazing. It was the last thing we could do. So we did a like pre-orders dinner. It was really cool. We had like a big table in here, and like everyone could come and try everything on. And it was really, I'm so happy we got to do that part. What would then have happened would be that we've got, you know, as you know, Maria, because you came and saw it, you know, all the press had come to see it. There was lots of things lined up, so it would have all kind of launched at the same time. It would have gone online, and we had a lovely big party planned here in the studio. And then, as I said, today was supposed to be the US launch, which was going to be a big old party with Maxfield in LA, which would have been amazing. But it will all happen, but maybe not for this collection.
But there was quite a gap between your last collection and this one. I think people eagerly await your collections.
Yes, that one was, there was sort of various things going on as well, which kind of, I took a bit of hiatus on making collections.
But I think that's interesting, because you know, some jewellery brands launch, you know, literally with clockwork precision, and it must be quite difficult as a creative to work to those sort of schedules.
For me, it's like the collections are kind of my they're like my luxury, because you know, it's really the most personal thing that I do. And, you know, this collection that we're about to launch is like super personal. It's my expression of myself, I suppose. So it's a real treat to be able to do that as a designer. And I know I'm really lucky. But so I don't, and you know, this is probably not great business sense, but it's like, I don't start the collection with this kind of commercial plan in my head of like, there needs to be so many pieces, they've got to hit this price point. I start by having a story that I want to tell, and then it kind of grows from there. And then, you know, in the meantime, between collections, I always am working on collaborations with people, and there's bits of stuff going on, and we do bespoke all the time. So that kind of, until I'm ready, until I know that we're going to launch a killer collection, like, I'd rather not do it. I'd rather wait for 2.5 years until I can do something that I'm proud of and I want to put out in the world.
I like that, killer or nothing for Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, sums me up, Marie. It's all or nothing.
Hannah, Laura Matthews has just asked, which historic brands or jewellery artists inspire you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Good question.
Actually, pretty easy one to answer. Suzanne Belperon is my like heroine of the jewelry world. I absolutely love everything.
That makes sense. As soon as you said it, I'm like,
yeah. And she was an incredible woman as well, and you know, a good, strong, powerful lady, which, you know, is nice. And there's, you know, especially then, there weren't a huge amount of women in the jewelry world, so she kind of was way ahead of her time. So she's one. I mean, living jewelers like Jar is my, you know, he's a kind of a god. So
okay,
pretty amazing.
Joel, I hope that you are watching this.
I really hope you are too. Thanks for your amazingness. Yeah, those two probably.
Those, yeah, and that somebody asked another question, which is your favourite piece of jewellery, which is. I know.
Answer. Sorry. Oh. Well, I mean, the ones I wear every day, not those ones. I mean, that's my kind of standard, even in lockdown, wearing them every day. So they're personally my favourites, I suppose. But it's such an impossible one. Like the Ring of Fire that I showed you, which you know, I'll flash up again. Like I said, that's kind of one of my favourites. But at the minute, I've got a whole bunch of new babies which are sitting in the safe, which are like my absolute passion, and I can't wait to show them.
We're gonna have to wait for those, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hannah, has any man bought your Ring of Fire?
Yes, one. I was going to say, I have sold it as an engagement ring twice, actually, but I have sold it to a client in LA has bought it as for himself, which is
very cool. LA.
Yeah.
Oh my God, somebody's asked, what one piece of advice would you give a small business during this time?
I wish someone would give it to me. I don't know. I mean, there's no answers, right? I think at the beginning, I mean, it was like a massive, like punch in the face when this all happened to me. Like it knocked me for six. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie. And the first couple of weeks I was just in like total rabbit in the headlights. I don't know what's going on and what to do. But I mean, my thing, I mean, I guess it's probably what I do for everything, but it's like, I've just tried to follow my gut on everything. So with the collection launch, we actually were to start with, we were like, right, we're going to crack on and do it. And then it felt really wrong. So I just was like, you know, I don't think we should. So we as a team and me have tried to be really responsive, like emotionally responsive, I suppose, because we're all, you know, the whole world's going through it. And I suppose if you can just manage to hang on in there as a small business and keep going through it, then we're going to come out the other side at some point or other. I don't have any advice because I don't know.
There you are. And to answer your questions, no advice.
Yeah, sorry, it's really shit for everybody.
Yes. Actually, Hannah, you've done very well not to swear the whole way through so far.
Sorry, I just did it, didn't I? I've got such a foul mouth. I've done really well, though. Sorry, Mum, if you're watching.
Is your mum on Instagram?
She is. She likes to correct my grammar. I'm sure she'll... I hope she's watching. Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum. Oh, okay, this is good. Where in the world does your work sell best? I like that question.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, physically, we probably sell most in London because we're here and we've got the showroom. But my clients are definitely international. I'd say the US, I mean, particularly LA and New York are really good markets, but really all over the US. I shipped an earring to New Orleans last week. That was exciting.
Which one?
Oh, the little spur earring, which I didn't show you actually.
Which is one of your best sellers, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hang on a second.
Because I can tell you, because I happen to have a price list here. It's only rock and roll, and you can buy them one by one, right, Hannah?
Yes, singly.
£350.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of our like standard sales. You know, I love it. It's one of my favorite things, and like I've got all my friends have got one. Like everyone, it's kind of like a little badge of honor.
Is your mum Harp Tree Martins?
Oh, she is.
She said, hello, darling girl. I promise you can swear, Mrs. Martins. Be exemplary. And tell me, Hannah, how do you deal with bespoke work? Because somebody who comes to you, I would imagine, is buying into your style. They're not going to ask you to do a fairy.
No, I mean, I've had a few questions like that, and there's been one or two pieces that I've just had to say, I don't think it's for me. But quite often, I mean, I'd say probably 70% of the bespoke that I do tends to be engagement rings of some kind or other, engagement or wedding or around that, or commitment or whatever. So they tend to be, with the bespoke, it tends to be more, I'd say, classic with a twist, or it's like a classic idea. Like there's often, I've got some drawings actually, I can show you.
On the floor.
Yes, on the floor. I don't know whether this is going to show in reflection, but
okay, there's got a lot of reflection taken out. In fact, Hannah, you're also going to show us some sketches, weren't you? Maybe.
This is it was big morganite actually. So that was an engagement ring. It was fab. So again, it's sort of like a classic shape of a ring, but a massive stone and then sort of sculptural detail. Some of them some of them can be more classic. Like I do a lot of diamond, with a central diamond in, but I always try and make it, people do come to me because I'm not, they don't want a ring that looks the same as everybody else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there always tends to be a twist. And some are really wild, like I said, I did a version of the Ring of Fire as an engagement ring. I've done a few different versions of this spur ring for various people. We've kind of customized it or reshaped it. I did one that was like multiple layers, so it had kind of 3 layers of that. That was actually a really good example way before this whole only being able to talk to people online thing. It was a couple of years ago, and the guy was in Panama and we never met, so we did the whole thing, like we did like consultations over Skype and email.
He sounds like one of your characters.
Totally. He was amazing. I loved him, and he really knew what he wanted. The spur ring, we did it all remotely. We shipped the ring to Panama. He loved it. So it can, I'm hope bespoke can still work even though we can't see each other.
Fantastic. Well, Hannah, do you have one last piece to show us?
Yes. What can I show you?
Oh, I've got somebody saying they're from Panama. Hello, Rainforest Designers, Panama. Hola, chicos.
You know what? I'm going to get something out of the cabinet to show you.
A special treat. Hannah is heading to the cabinet, the special reserve.
Just because these ones are really fun.
Oh, Hannah, thank you. I'm glad I asked. Wow. How do you wear those?
So these, they're called the double shackle bangles.
Yeah, you don't go for floral ornate names, do you? The double shackle bangle, okay.
Absolutely. So the idea is you can wear them, they're gold, they work as, so we do this as a single shackle bangle. Again, that's probably one of our really good sellers, like kind of simple shackle bangle. But these ones, you can wear them, so you can put one on, wrap the chain around and put the other one on.
Okay.
Or you can use them as you wish, wherever and whenever.
Okay. Okay. And again, Hannah, the actual screw that is functional, isn't it?
Yeah. So it works like an actual shackle.
That's amazing. And how do you get gold to be that finely?
Well, that's a special
calibrated.
Called a tap and die, which you use at the end. So they're amazing. So it cuts the screw thread into the gold. So there's 2 parts to the tool. So you just have to get the right size tube and the right size hole, and then you use this tool, and it cuts away the inside and cuts away the outside, so it screws together
perfectly.
Yeah, there's some amazing tools in jewellery. It's really fun.
You're a bit of a tool geek, I can see.
Totally am.
Hannah, we have way overshot in time.
Oh God, sorry.
No, absolutely fantastic. And I think it's been really interesting to see you in difficult conditions, but so full of life and with such a great story to tell.
Cheered me up. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much, Hannah.
All right.
I hope to see you soon on the other side, as they say.
Absolutely. See ya.
Well, bye. Bye. Bye.